Hey everybody, this is TechNolli, and today we've got a beautiful little ITX system that I built for a channel subscriber. I got the front of it off right now on this NZXT case, and we got a little water cooler in it. Very cool. And it runs really cool. It is nice. It's got a little RGB in it, a little lighting. So that's kind of cool. I'll turn on a light here and show you some of the insides. So there it is, nice little board. And we had to use one of these little USB extension cards on it because we needed two USB 2 headers for the pump and for the RGB lighting on the case. So there it is, nice board. We've got a, this is a 3900 Ryzen and a beautiful Red Devil graphics card. So we'll get into this one, and I want to show you the specs on it, and we're going to show you how to build Opencore 0.5.8 on this one. Okay guys, so here we are on this thing, and I'm going to show you benchmarks at the end of this video. So on this particular build, I want to show you the complete process of building the Opencore for this Ryzen. And this should work for most Ryzen computers that you're building out there, but you got to make sure that you are using the right kext for your particular Ethernet controller because they're different on different motherboards. On this particular motherboard, it has an Intel i211 Ethernet, so that uses a small tree kext, okay? So now that my website is basically just EFI folders because I want you to use the latest downloads from Opencore's website for drivers and kexts. So let's go ahead and get started. We're building this from scratch, so we can go over here to the TechNolli site and go to the download page. And up here at the top of the page, we have all of the things that we need to build an EFI on our own. Okay, so what we're going to need Opencore, and currently it's 0.5.8. They have 5.7, they have 5.6 in here. They got all the versions. So I'm going to pick the latest one, and I'm going to pick the release. Okay, so I'll download that, go back over to TechNolli, and we're going to need proper tree to edit our config.plist. So we'll just download this whole set of files, and then go back over here. We're going to need this little program to build our SSDTs, and we'll take the latest one and allow the download. And let's see what else we're going to need. We're going to need mount EFI. So we'll download the whole package right here. And let's see here. I don't need the serial number changer yet because I'll be doing that later. Drivers and kexts. Now here's where you get the latest drivers and kexts. All right. So let's go over here, and it says gathering files. All right. So the one file that is not included in the package of the Opencore 0.5.8 is this file right here we're going to need. It's a driver. So we'll download this driver, download, and then we'll go back over to gathering files. Now for all of your computers, you don't need any of this stuff. This open runtime comes with the Opencore. This is for legacy computers. But right here we have kexts, and these are kind of like drivers. But anyways, you can just download these from the website. So let's download Virtual SMC, and we want the release version. And we'll go back to gathering files. We need Lilu, and we'll get the release version. And we're going to need whatever green. So we'll download the release version of that one. And Apple ALC, which is for our audio. Download that one. Okay, and here is the small tree kext for a i211 Ethernet. Now, if you have an i219 Intel, then you need Intel Mousy. If you have a Thoris, these are for little older motherboards. Mostly right now, the motherboards are coming out with these chips, the Intel Mousy, the small tree, the Realtek, and this Lucy RTL for 2.5 gig. So for mine, I need this one. And we'll go right here and click on here and download. Okay. Now, once we have all of the files that we need, everything else is we're not going to need for this build, then we can start building our EFI. Okay. So let's go over to our downloads and start putting everything out on the desktop. All right, so let's put Opencore out here because that's what we want to get started with. So we'll double click on that. We'll go to the EFI folder. We'll go to, move that over there real quick. We'll go to the OC and we'll go to Tools, and just, you can delete all of this. You don't really need it. Okay, now we'll go to Drivers. And we want to delete everything in here except Open Runtime EFI. So we'll get rid of these, and this one. And if you remember, we downloaded this one right here, HFS Plus. We need that under Drivers. Then we'll go back and we'll go over to our kext. All right. Now, kext, we need small tree. We need this Apple ALC, so we'll drag it over, go back. We need whatever green, and there it is. We'll go back. We need Lilu. We'll go back, and we need Virtual SMC under kext, and we just need this one, okay? All right, and then we are done with our kext. Now in here, we have no SSDTs that we're going to have to build. All right, so while we're right here, guys, let's go ahead and grab proper tree, put it out here, and mount EFI. We're going to need that. Now, while we've got Opencore right here, if you'll notice, we have no config.plist in here. So let's go under Docs, and let's grab the sample plist and drag it into here. And then let's rename this to config.plist. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we'll close that out. Now let's go over to the Opencore website. And click here, and then Opencore. And if we go down here, this is a Ryzen build, so we have to go down here to the Zen AMD config.plist and go under Zen, and this is where we're going to get our example. So let's go to ACPI, which is right here, and see what SSDTs we need. And look, we only need one. And what's beautiful about it is it's already pre-made. So we'll just download it. Go to Downloads, and we can just copy it and put it right into our Opencore EFI OC ACPI folder and just paste it into there. Wow, that is simple. All right. Okay, now let's move on. Let's go ahead, and we need to use proper tree right here, and we're going to right click on it and open it, and then open. And that's going to open up this window. And what we want to do is we want to open up the config.plist that is in our Opencore folder. So let me move all this over. Minimize that so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, then go up to File, Open, and we want to go to the desktop where we have our Opencore our EFI, OC config.plist, and click open. All right. Now we can go ahead and get rid of these warnings right here because we're okay. And we're going to do an OC snapshot. Well, what OC snapshot does, it injects all of the ACPIs, the drivers, and the kexts into our config.plist automatically. Okay? So let's go up here to File, and then OC snapshot. And then we want to make sure that we're in the right folder. So we're going to go to the desktop, Opencore, our EFI, our OC, and click Choose. Now it just inserted all of the paths to these files into our config.plist. All right, now we just, from here, want to move on down past ACPI. So here's our ACPI. We're done with that. We're done with the SSDTs. So we're going to go down here to Booter, and we're going to look for quirks. All right, so we'll go down here to Booter, and here are quirks. All right, so what we have to do is make sure that all of these settings are the same in this particular config.plist. So we want to look at number 1. Yes equals true and no equals false. So let's just go down through these. Yes, and then we don't have another yes until we get to enable safe mode slide, and it is set correctly. And then we're going to go to the next one, enable write unprotector. It is set correctly. And then they're all no until we get to provide custom slide, and it is set correctly. And then rebuild Apple memory map, and that needs to be set. So we double click on false, and then this little picker will show up. We click true. All right, and then sync runtime permissions needs to be true. Okay, device properties. We're okay there. We're not going to change anything in device properties. Now we're going to come to kernel. And we'll come down here a little ways, guys, until we get to here. All right, so what we want to look for is patch. Right there it is. Okay, so now we got a little bit of work to do. So let's click on here, and let's click on patches, and we have to save this as a text document. So what I want you to do is just go up here to Spotlight and type in text edit. Okay, so we'll bring up a little text box. Now what's very important is you go up here to Format and choose Make Plain Text. Okay, so then we're going to go over here. Let me put this over here to Raw. Click on Raw. All right, and what we want to do is select all and copy all of this right here into our text document and paste it. Okay, then let's go up here to File, Save, Patches.plist, and we're going to save it to the desktop. We're going to uncheck this right here and click Save. All right. So we can go out of here. And now we're going to go over here and open up the patches. So we're going to go to the desktop and open up patches.plist right here. Okay. And now we can go over to Patch and just right click and copy. And then we'll go over to Kernel, right click and paste. Okay, so now we're done with that. All right, guys, so let's go back over here. We're done with this section. We've already patched everything. So we're going to go to our quirks. And we are right here. So we just want to, again, make sure that all of these settings right in here are the same. Okay, so we'll just go down through here and we'll look for a yes because most of them are no. And dummy power management needs to be true. Okay, let's move on down here, and we're going to see panic, no text dump, true. Power timeout, kernel panic needs to be true. And then our USB port limit needs to be true, which is our XHCI. Okay, now we come down here past all of these patches until we see miscellaneous. Right there. And here's our miscellaneous here. So all of these things are good until we get to debug. So we'll just look for debug over here. And right here. So if we're using Catalina 10.15.4 or newer, which I am, I'm going to turn this one on. And then disable watchdog also needs to be true or turned on. And then we want to come down here to target, and we need to change that to 6.7 and then hit enter. All right. Now everything here is good. We're going to come down to security, right down here, security, and allow NVRAM reset needs to be true. Allow set default needs to be true. No. Scan policy here needs to be 0. And then right here where it says vault, we need to change this to optional. And hit enter. All right, we're almost done. Let's go down to NVRAM right here. And down here we need to add a few things. Okay, so we get down to here where it says boot args. Those are boot arguments. And we need to add a couple in here. So just double click and then put a space between each argument. First one I'm going to copy is this debug equals 0 times 100. Paste it in there, hit a space, and we're going to need npci equals 0 2000. Paste that in there, space. We need this one right down here for our audio. Copy and paste. Now guys, this is really important. If you're using a 5000 series Radeon graphics card, then you need to add this particular boot argument to the end of this line. I am using a 5700, so I'm going to grab this line, copy it, and go clear here to the end. Make sure I have a space, and then paste it into there, and then hit enter. And see if I open this back up and I go clear to the end, there it is. Okay, so that's for your 5700 graphics cards. Okay. Now, if we want everything to be in English, we need to change these characters. Right here is English. If you click right here, Apple Keyboard Layouts, it'll give you other languages, but we're using English, so I'm just going to copy that text and put it into here and hit enter. Okay, so we are done with all of this. Everything is good until we get to write flash. Right here, write flash needs to be true. Platform info. Okay, we need to verify that this is set to, right here, iMac Pro 1,1. So we need to change this to iMac Pro 1,1 and hit enter. All right, so we're emulating an iMac Pro is what we're doing with this Ryzen. Okay, so we're done with platform info. Everything is good. We're going to put in our serial numbers and UUID numbers later. So we'll just go down here to UEFI. And guys, you can just scroll all the way down toward the end to quirks and make sure request boot bar fallback is true. Okay, which is down, clear down here. Right there. Request boot bar fallback. All right, so we are done with this. Before we get into the BIOS, we have to put our EFI folder onto our USB stick in the EFI partition. So in order to do that, we're going to use this program called Mount EFI. So let's just double click on this, right click on Mount EFI.command and hit open. Okay, and we're going to see here are the list of our hard drives and our USB stick. So here's my install macOS Catalina, which is here, and I want to mount that. So I'm going to press number 1, and I'm going to put in my password, and now I have this hidden EFI partition that just popped up. So I can go out of here. So I'll go in here, and I will drag my EFI folder and put it into the EFI partition on the USB stick. All right. So there we go. Everything's in there, ready to go. Our kext, our drivers, and our SSDT. So we're ready to go. Now we can get into the BIOS. So we'll restart. And we can start tapping the delete key when the screen goes black, so we can get into the BIOS. All right, guys, here we are. Now on Ryzen BIOS setups, they're really pretty easy. We'll go over here to Settings and I/O ports. And as you can see here, my initial display is set to my PCIe, which is a graphics card. That's the 5700. I have my audio controller enabled. Above 4G decoding is disabled for Ryzen. I've got my LAN controller turned on. USB configuration, we want all 3 of these to be enabled. And SATA configuration, AHCI. And of course, all of our SATA's chips are turned on. Network stack is disabled. Okay, then we simply go over here to boot. Make sure fast boot is disabled and SM support is disabled. Okay, it's just that simple on these. And then we'll just go down here to save and exit, and let's start booting from the USB stick. Okay, so now I'm going to press that F12 key to get to the boot menu, because I want to boot from my USB stick. I want to make sure that I'm booting from the USB stick. So F12. All right. So there's my USB stick right there, and I'll just click on that, and we'll come over here, and we're going to choose number 3, which is install macOS Catalina from external, which is our USB, and hit enter. We'll go through a lot of text, guys, and we're going to come up to the format disk utility window. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, so here we come. We're going to come up to this disk utility menu, and we're going to format this thing. Okay. Disk utility, continue. We want to choose right here where it says view. We want to choose the down arrow and show all devices. Okay, so right here is my Sabrent, my internal hard drive that I want to use. So I'm going to click erase, and I'm going to name it Mac OS. You can name it whatever you like. And then format is going to be APFS and GUID partition map, and click erase. All right, we're done with that. Now we can go out of here and install macOS, continue, continue, agree, and agree. Choose our hard drive and click install. And this doesn't take very long. It'll take 3 or 4 minutes to get down here to 2 minutes remaining. And then it's going to reboot on its own, and we're going to leave the USB stick in there because we have to boot from it again. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're down to about 2 minutes remaining, so it should reboot right here. And we'll be ready to go. Yep, there she goes. Leave that USB stick in there. We still got to boot from it. Okay, and at this point, we don't need to press the F12 key because we're just going to come back up to our little boot menu and continue on. Okay, once we get here, it will default to Mac OS installer and continue. And when this gets to the next screen, we'll be right back. And of course, it gets stuck on a couple of lines, but it does go by them. Doesn't take long at all. Okay, we'll come up here to the Apple logo and let's see what happens. All right, so it says here we've got about 10 minutes remaining. So we have to wait for this line to go completely across. All right, there it goes. So leave the memory stick in there, the USB drive, and we're going to boot one more time. Okay, now it's going to pick our actual drive, which, if you remember, we named this hard drive macOS. So it's going to pick that and continue and finish up the install. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Now, it's a good idea now to plug in your LAN cable to the back of the computer, okay? All right, so let's just put in our country. Continue, continue, continue. I don't want to transfer anything now, so continue. You definitely do not want to sign into your Apple ID yet. We have to change our serial number, so skip this right here. And then agree and agree. Name it whatever you like and give it a password. All right, and then continue. And customize. I like to turn on location services. That's up to you. Continue, and I don't turn on analytics. I shut that off. Continue. And continue. And here's Siri if you want it or not. Continue. Light or dark mode or auto, your choice. I'll pick dark mode. Continue. And here we go, setting up your Mac. This is beautiful. We got a couple things we have to do though, guys, so don't go away yet. Continue and identify your keyboard. So I'll press the key that it says next to my left shift key and then next to my right shift key. And now I am done. Okay, so here we go. Everything's working. Let's go ahead and get on the internet and let's go back over to my website. So we'll go over to TechNolli.com. All right, go to downloads. And we're going to need three things. We're going to need this Mount EFI. So we'll download that package again. Allow. And then we're going to need Gen SM BIOS so we can make serial numbers. Download that package. And we're going to need Property. And we'll download that package. Okay, I'm done with that. All right, so we'll go here to our downloads. And the first thing I want to do is mount the EFI partition in my USB stick and on the hard drive. So I'll double click, right click on mount EFI.command and open. And then open. And say OK. And so I want to mount the EFI on my stick and I want to mount the EFI on my hard drive. So I'll press number 1 and then put in my password. Okay, so there is my EFI on the USB stick, and then I also want to mount the hard drive. So I'll press number 3. Yours could be a different number, so you just want to press the number associated with your hard drive. Go over here to computer. And now I have, if you look here, I've got my hard drive EFI and it's empty. So I'm going to go over here to my USB EFI partition and grab that folder and just drop it into here. That's it, guys. Very simple. Now let's go back over to downloads and let's go to Gen SM BIOS, double click, right click on Gen SM BIOS.command and open, and then open. All right, so the first thing we want to do here is press number 1 to install, and then enter, and then press number 2. And what it wants to know is, where is the config.plist? So I'm going to go ahead and eject my USB stick because I don't want this program to find my config.plist on my USB. I want it to find the one on my hard drive. So now I'm going to go over here to computer again and go to my EFI partition on my hard drive, EFI folder, OC, and then drag this config.plist into our little program here and hit enter. All right. And then number 3 to generate SMBIOS. And what it wants to know here is the product name. If you'll remember, when we were building the config.plist, we named it iMac Pro 1,1 and hit enter. Now it just injected all of these numbers into our config.plist, so we are done with that. So hit enter and close this out. Now I want to get rid of the text when you first boot up the computer. So I'm going to go into property. I'm going to right click on property.command and open, and then open. And you remember this? So we're going to go back into our config.plist. So we're going to go file, open. We're going to go to our EFI on our hard drive, which is going to be clear under here. There it is, the EFI folder, OC, and config.plist, and click open. Now just go ahead and use these arrows to minimize all of these different areas until we get down to right here, NVRAM. And remember the boot args? Well, that -V is what we need to get rid of so we don't have that text when we boot the computer. So we'll just double click on this line, and then we're going to remove the -V and hit enter. Okay, so we're done with that, guys. So we'll just click out of here and save. And let's go ahead and reboot. I want you guys to see it boot up. All right, go ahead and pull your USB stick out now because we don't need it. Now we don't need to press anything on the keyboard. We'll just let it come up, and it's going to default to our Mac OS. And this little menu will stay up here for 5 seconds and then it'll start. That was actually faster than 5 seconds, but there you go. Just like a real Mac. Look at that. So we're booting up the computer. All we see is the Apple logo, and then we're going to come up to our login screen, and this beautiful computer is complete. So what do you think of this one, guys? Okay, guys, let's get into these benches real quick. Let's start with Geekbench 5. We'll see just how good it runs on this system. Okay, here we go. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're coming down to the end of it here, and just wanted to let you know that if you need help with your build or whatever, you can go over to the TechNolli website and click on support, and we can get you help and get you up and running. And if you would like a computer built, then just email us at orders@technolli.com, and we can talk to you about that. All right, let's see where we end up with this Geekbench. Ooh, nice. 1285 on a single 12,136 on a multi-core. Let's just check. 1286 is over anything in here, so I can't help you. All right, multi-score, and by the way, above a Mac Pro. Okay, nice. Both these Mac Pros. Multi, 12,001. Okay, so 12,001. So we're above this Mac Pro from 2019, 12-core. So, you know, as always, the Ryzens are just amazing. Okay, let's go out of here and let's run Cinebench. And let's see where we can end up with this. All right, here we go. Okay, guys, we're coming down to the end of this one. It just doesn't take very long. Look at this. Oh my God, 7113. That is an amazing score. Okay, this is a 3900. That is really good. So there you go. Another gigabyte build here. This is a gigabyte board. And we've got that 5700 Red Devil graphics card in here. So it's a serious little system. It really is. Okay. I hope this will help you to do your Opencore configuration. The only thing, like I said, that is different is really your text for your different Ethernet controllers, because different motherboard manufacturers use different controllers. Even one brand could have 2 different Ethernets. So you just have to make sure when you're trying to build a Ryzen system that you're putting in the correct text for your Ethernet controller. And everything else, guys, should be pretty much the same. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.